Hello, ORMATYC. This is Gary Parker again, SVG part 2, and we are about to play with some graphics. Where the heck am I? Interesting. Share. Let's get moving. So here I'm at the home page of my SVG website, slideshow, and then some Mozilla developer tutorial and reference pages. We took a quick look last time at some basic SVG elements, what an SVG scalable vector graphic is, how it's different from a photo, some uses of it out there, and then the basic coordinate system. And so here I link, for this example, to the Mozilla tutorial again, and I borrowed their graphic. So there are all kinds of different ways to set up your SVG. This is an older version of doing it by declaring it as XML first and then SVG. So we'll do a slightly simpler version of that. And then here they have descriptions of each of the basic shape elements and those attributes that they have. So an element is like the line, and an attribute is x1 and x2, and attributes have values, is the language. And then we'll do a little play designing our own shape in a minute. So let's jump into the code pen exercise here. If you didn't get this left panel view, go to change your view and then jump into the left view as opposed to the default view there. And let's see, I would like to make a copy of this. Where is my make a copy button? Settings. You should have a button up here that lets you fork it. I'm not seeing mine. Okay, we'll just go for it anyway. So changing again the view. And I'm not using CSS or JS, so we can maximize the HTML editor. So here, again, is a little HTML at the beginning, then on line 6 starts the SVG. I'm zoomed in a bit, so my view might look different than yours. And so inside of the SVG element are these children elements, a couple of rectangles, a circle and the ellipse, a line, a polyline for the lightning bolt, a polygon for the star, and a path to make this cute little curve. And they're using a cubic Bezier, which I'll talk about in a couple of segments from now. So in this case, I just say, hey, go to the SVG element, find the rectangle, and make it not a square. So I was referring to this rectangle here, the first one. We're going to change its stroke from black to this hexadecimal color. And for hexadecimal colors, we do need the pound in front to declare, hey, this is hexadecimal. So scrolling down, first rectangle, it says start at x equals 10, y equals 10, have a width of 30 and a height of 30. So let's just expand the height to 60. And then, let's see, I said change the stroke. So the stroke is now black, so I can delete black, and I could copy and paste. Ooh, not that. I didn't apparently copy that, or I can just type it in, pound, FF, A5. So this says FF, use all the red you can, and then A5 means use a significant amount of green, and then OO means no blue. And so that should change this, the color there. So a lot of red and a little bit of green gives us orange in the way optics work. So these are different than paint colors when you mix them, and that's important. Feel free to read about that in Wikipedia. Cool, I accomplished my task there. So I recommend here pausing the video and play around with some of these other attributes here. Note there's a stroke width in some of these. We have a fill transparent, which is like a fill none, is another similar option there. A polygon automatically goes to the closing point, as opposed to a polyline, which just stops and ends, where you tell it to stop and end. And then the path's a whole nother story. All right, moving along. In my Math for Elementary School Teachers course, this is a version of attribute pieces that I have them play with. And this was a fun example to make because I get to play around with repeating objects and then tweaking them. So if we jump in and look at that page source code here for this SVG, you'll see I have some definitions at the top where I make an equilateral triangle, a square, and a circle, and then I reuse them by calling them by name. And then I move them around the screen, and I can change their fill and their stroke in groups. So this is me just having fun with grouping and transforms with these initial objects. So I only have to define them once, and then I just reuse them in a lot of different ways throughout the page, which is a pretty cool attribute of SVG. So next CodePen exercise is to make a sketch and then try and program your sketch in SVG. Here I added a little bit of CSS just for fun to throw a color in the background and define a width to the page and a little border on the sides. Depending on your view, you might see that border there. And then I also added some JavaScript to go in and look for the SVG element on the screen and take whatever its width and height were and change it to 200 by 200. And in the SVG code, the HTML SVG code, I said make it 100 by 100. So I'm going to take that JavaScript out. This is the actual size of the image right there. Okay, so feel free to remove the JavaScript unless you find it fascinating. And let's play with this. So a couple of options. You could just go tweak some element attributes like we did in the previous exercise, or you could make a sketch and then try and implement the sketch in SVG. And that's the way this started here. I was playing around on a piece of paper, and then I tried to program it as a graphic. So whiteboard, please. I'm going to go with what my original definition for that SVG element was, which was a 100 by 100 section of the coordinate grid. And you can pick any part of the grid to graph in. And this is just kind of a standard thing. So I told SVG to start at 0, 0, and then have a width of 100 and a height of 100. And so let's make a very simple sketch here by throwing in a circle. Let's put the circle at 40, 40 center, and then give it a radius of 30. And so that should give me points out here-ish. And let's see if I can draw on my virtual whiteboard. By the way, the tools I'm using here, the screen you see is a program called Open Board. And then I am drawing on a stylus tablet that is just this black surface. It's by Wacom. It's called an Intuos. So I don't see what's happening on the tablet. I draw on the tablet and watch the screen to see what the heck I'm doing. Takes some getting used to. So there's my circle there. And then maybe I will go over to, how about 30, 30, and draw a square that is, let's say, 40 by 40. So let's see, 30 or 70 over here-ish. All right, so this is going to be my square to the best of my artistic ability today. And so that looks about right. All right, so I'm going to make a little note to myself about my circle and my square. All right, so now I'm going to try and put this into SVG. So show desktop. And I'm going to get rid of the stuff I don't want. I want a rectangle and I want a circle. So I'm just going to delete the extra stuff. And again, feel free to type in over my stuff there. I wanted my rectangle to start at 30, 30. So I give it the initial XY coordinate, and then I say, hey, get a width and a height. And I wanted a width of 40 and a height of 40 to make that rectangle a square. And let's be a little bit different. Let's go with red for the fill, and sure, orange, why not? Red and orange. For the circle, I wanted to start at 40, 40, or center of 40, 40, excuse me. And I wanted a radius of 30. And it's telling me to save up here, but I'm not going to because I am now editing the version I posted for everybody. So I forgot to fork a new one ahead of time. Radius, what did I want here? 3, oh, 4. Oops, sorry, my daughter's calling. Ah. Oh, the joys of homeschool when I wasn't expecting to. School's out. Come get me, Dad. All right, so radius there. Okay, and I wanted the, let's see, in my sketch, did I have the circle on top there? Maybe I want the square on top of the circle. So then I have to change the order of them. So rectangle, pull out, and then put it after, oh, what did I do? Control X, Control V, there we go. And SVG, like HTML, kind of ignores white space. So I could put all the spaces in and new lines I want. It doesn't affect what's going on there. So there I implemented my sketch with a little bit of color. And let's see, what else should I do? That's slate gray, I'm not digging anymore. Red, orange, let's go yellow. And then stroke blue. Let's get a little rainbow action going on there. Ooh, the red and yellow look kind of good. Well, that's not bad. All right, I built what I intended to there. So again, we're just getting used to the idea of SVG as an element in an HTML page. It has children elements called circle and rectangle, and each of those have all these attributes you can mess with. In the next presentation, I will talk about arcs, and then the one after that, I will do Bezier curves. And those are two different kinds of paths one can implement. So take care, do good math and other stuff. I'll see you in the near future. Bye.